Hello everyone and welcome to another video in this channel. Today we're gonna kick off with one of our new series, which is called I always forget about the name, the Nexus Art Support Nexus. Very tricky name, but it's the Art Support Nexus, okay? So this is a series that I am trying to create. You guys are gonna let me know if it's a good series or not, where you guys submit works that you're currently working on. It's not a portfolio review, it's something that you're currently working on and that you need some help with. So today we're gonna take a look at two elements. We're gonna take a look at Cameron Eddy's blowtorch edge damage question, and we're gonna take a look at Austin Henry Rodriguez alien sculpting. So if you want to learn about all of the different tools that we're going to be using today, make sure to check all of our tutorials in Skillshare. Hey guys, Abraham here. I just want to remind you guys that we upload all of our courses to Skillshare. Skillshare is this amazing site where you can access a ton of different content to learn, improve, and grow as an artist. We have all of our courses available to watch and learn from right now in Skillshare. You can check the description down here, and Skillshare is offering 1 free month trial to their premium membership. With this membership, you're going to be able to access all of our courses and watch and learn all of the amazing things that we cover with all of the softwares. So what are you waiting for? Check Skillshare down here below. Cool, so let's start with Cameron Eddy right here, and this is what he's showing. So I'm gonna read his letter in just a second, but he's doing this very cool model of a blowtorch, sort of like a product render or something like that, and he wants to add a little bit of wear, like actual metal damage to this plastic bit or this metal bit right here. So the question he has here on his letter is how we go about retopologizing that specific part, given that we already have a really clean mesh. And I have the mesh right here, as you can see. This is the high poly of the torch. I'm actually going to press Shift P to get it out, and I'm going to call this top plastic sculpted. There we go. And we already have a really nice low poly right here, which Eddy created. Now this, I wouldn't precisely consider it a low poly due to the fact that it has a lot of support edges. If it was a true low poly, we could get rid of some of these low edges to even simplify the topology like way more. Like we don't need all of those edges that I'm deleting. I would even be tempted to go in and delete all of these guys right here, because they're not really changing the silhouette, they're not really adding anything to the model, and we can simplify them quite a bit. But if we want to keep it as well at what Eddy has right here and work from here, it is actually possible. So let's go to it. Now I'm actually using Maya 2024, which has some new retopology tools. I'm gonna give you a couple of options, Eddy. So here's the first one. The first one is to try to use one of the new tools from Maya 2024, which is the automatic meshing. So if we go here to mesh and we go to retopologize, you can see that we have a lot of different options right here, and that we can go here to feature preservation and preserve hard edges. And if we hit retopologize, I'm gonna say ignore and continue. What this should do is it should try to retopologize this and give us a low poly mesh of the object with those elements captured in. Is this going to be the best one? Maybe not, but it should give us a nice result. Let me give it a couple of seconds for this to think, and let's see what we get. Okay, so the automatic retopology is actually not working in this particular case, and the reason is it's because it has a lot of very thin areas, so it's having a little bit of an issue trying to figure it out. And that's one of the disadvantages of automatic retopology, that it might not always work on all of the pieces. So here's the other thing that I would suggest. Since we already have a nice clean topology right here, this one, what we can do is if we grab both of this, let's duplicate them, push them up. I'm gonna make this a sculpted one a live surface by clicking on this little icon right here. I'm gonna grab this one right here, and we can literally go into Quadro and just shift and relax to push some of the points down. And as you can see, the points are automatically going to be trying to relax as much as possible or as close as possible to the sculpted thing that you had. And you have enough geometry on this piece that we can actually use most of the elements that we have right here to capture the details that you sculpted inside of Blender. I believe you mentioned on your message that you did this sculpture inside of Blender. So now if we're going to give this an extra level of detail or extra level of exactitude, we can grab this thing and go into mesh and use this option called conform, and conform this to a 0.001 along normals and hit apply. And as you can see, that pushed the things slightly closer to the edges of what we have right here. So now if we take a look at this low poly, you can see that we are capturing the shape of the element a lot better with these elements right here. If we want to be extra precise, of course, we can continue going here and using our smooth brush to just move some points around and just reorganize all of the different things or all of the different edges that we have here so that we can capture the silhouette a lot closer. I don't think we need to add more geometry, to be honest. I think we have enough points to work with this. But the thing about retopology is you want to be able to capture these things in the best possible, or to get as close to the silhouette as possible. So something like this, I think, would capture everything like quite nicely. There's a couple points here that will probably push a little bit more. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So by doing that, once we bake all of the information from this piece right here, all of that information is going to be transferred to this area right here, and it's going to look a lot closer to what you're expecting here. Then, of course, after doing a little bit of work inside of a Substance Painter or inside of any of the texturing softwares, you're going to be able to get a really nice result. So that's what I would do. Of course, the bakes for this thing right here would need, or the UVs for this will need to be reorganized a little bit. If we do a Control U to unfold, you're going to see that some of the edges will probably shift around, like this one right here. Shifts this a little bit. This one right here shifts a little bit. But we're going to be able to get a nice bake after that. I do believe that you did some of the bakes with the other pieces. So I'm not going to go over baking right now. But that's how I would do it. Like, you actually have a really nice low poly geometry here that you can reuse some of this by using the relax option inside of this one. Now, if you really want to go and create some super low res like retopology, you will need to redraw the topology here and try to capture this with the like recommended sort of like topology flow, which in this case will be something like this. And that's going to give us a super low version of the element. I don't think that's what you want, because you're going for this sort of like product render, which I recommend you keep at a relatively high poly count to get as much detail as possible. But it's another possibility. The only issue here is that, of course, it's going to be asymmetrical, at least on the borders here. You're going to have to pretty much capture this. And triangles are fine, by the way. A lot of people have some issues with triangles. They think they're like the worst thing in the world. But no, they're actually quite useful, especially for hard surface stuff like this. You can use them quite a bit as long as you know where, in this case, to position them so that you don't create any sort of like non-manifold geometry. So yeah, this will be my advice, my friend. Hopefully it works and I'm answering your question. Let me go now to the next one, who is Alston Henry Rodriguez. So Alston writes right here and says, "Hi Abraham, hope you're doing well. Recently, I've been trying to find some ideas to sculpt in ZBrush. That's when I came across this concept. I found it interesting enough and started sculpting. After sculpting, I still find that the sculpt lacks detail, especially since it's a bust, and I would love to learn how to add details to our sculpts. And I would love to hear from your part, and it would be a great help for me." So this is the ZBrush file that was attached, and this right here is the concept piece. Really cool concept piece. Now, the first thing I notice is that, yes, we have a really nice form in general, but we still need to tweak around a couple of things to make this thing work perfectly. So first thing that I notice is that the shape of the big cap right here is actually not perfectly round. So I'm going to use my move brush here to make this thing a little bit more rounder. You can see how the corners here are a little bit rounder. So again, just using my move brush, I'm going to try to capture that sort of like a round, long silhouette that we have right there. Also, you added a detail here that I don't see on the concept. On the concept, it's really round. So I'm going to use my trimming dynamic to flatten that area. And I can see on the concept, this thing's kind of like protruding forward a little bit more. So I'm going to push it forward. Now, a very interesting detail is this hose that you have right there. So don't be afraid to push your dynamic resolution higher. Once you are in a position where, what's the word? When you have a lot of detail, it is important that we increase the resolution to be able to capture everything. I don't recommend capturing or increasing the resolution until you're finished on the current level that you're at. But in this case, I think you already have some nice primary forms, and we can start playing around with these things right here. So you can see there's like an interesting little border around the eyes. And I'm gonna add it, and then I'm gonna use my smooth brush to smooth it out and clean a little bit of those details. Now, those seem like either like really deep elements or actually holes that go through the object. I'm not entirely sure what they are. You can kind of make it work for both. But yeah, as you mentioned, we definitely need to push the forms a little bit. Don't be scared to really push things in. We're working with Dynamesh, so remember, anytime we recalculate with Dynamesh, we're gonna get a nice little reconstruction of our geometry. We're gonna be able to create these negative shapes on the characters themselves. Now, I'm not sure if you already have the ZBrush series, the complete guide to ZBrush 2022, but I go over teeth in one of the examples. And this is where that sort of like knowledge really comes into play, because you can get some really interesting looking teeth. For instance, here on the jawline, I'm gonna add a line on the jawline to reinforce the border, because right now it looks really round, and usually the jawline is actually a little bit sharp. So I'm gonna start carving in a little bit of the volume here to make this look a little bit sharper. I don't know, the teeth look a little bit weird to me because they look kind of like fused together, but at the same time like not. So I'm just gonna do some squiggly lines here to indicate that the teeth would be like right around there. One thing you can do is you can actually move the light here inside of ZBrush and give it a little bit more of a dramatic light closer to what we have on the concept. That's gonna allow you to appreciate the forms a little bit closer to what we're seeing on your concept, and that should give us a nice interesting look. Look at this thing right here, right there. I can see this line going out, and then it creates like a little hook right here. So I'm gonna add the volume for that hook, and that's also gonna change the silhouette quite a bit. That one, sorry, that one is important as well. And then to blend it in, I'm just gonna be very soft here with my clay buildup to start filling in the gaps. And then I can use String Dynamic to flatten all of these things in. There we go. Clay buildup again to fill in stuff. I love clay buildup. I've mentioned this before. I work a lot with clay buildup because it allows me to work fast on the main forms, and then I just clean it up and polish it, and it gives me this very like natural, realistic sort of look that I particularly like. For instance, here, and we can blend this in a little bit more with the crown, and see how we get some like interesting shape. It's very smooth, right? Like it's a very smooth crown, but still, like pushing it this way, I think it's really, really good. Let me just, there we go. Get myself a little bit more comfortable over here. And yeah, let's start carving in a little bit more here on the jawline. You can see some like little lights and shadows here. So I'm gonna try to separate the jawline from the rest of the elements. There we go. Again, just carving in, and I normally don't like working with perspective. I just noticed that you had it on. I'm gonna use my move brush to give this more roundness to the face. It's gonna give it a little bit more depth, which is also important. Depth. We don't want things to look flat or comical, so depth is going to be really, really important. So I would say, my friend, that you are on the secondary and the tertiary, like basic shapes. We still need to polish these things a little bit more, so that you can get more of the details. For instance, you're missing the muscles right here, and the way to increase the details is to increase the resolution level, but utilize all of the different, or all of this new polygon amounts that we have here, all of the Dynamesh. We need to utilize it to add all of this like interesting details to your character. Okay, so I would suggest that you keep working on your basic forms. That would be my advice before you jump onto the other stuff. Now I am gonna save this C2 for you, my friend, in case you want to continue working from this one. However, if our versions of ZBrush do not match, it might be a little bit difficult to make it work. Let's just have more subtools here. Okay. So yeah, try and see if we can make it work. If not, just leave me a comment and I can export it as a OBJ or FBX so that you can just import it out. But yeah, this is pretty much it, man. Hopefully this helped you, and for anyone who wants to participate in this new series, the links are going to be here in the description. They're going to be permanent in all of our videos, and you guys can submit your own works, texturing, modeling, sculpting. Like if there's anything you guys are struggling with and you want me to take a look into the files, make sure to go into the folder right here, create a little folder with your name, leave me a note with the information of the specific project that you want me to check. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll be happy to help you out, guys. So yeah, I'm gonna be gone for the next couple of days, but I'll be back on Monday for our stream. We're gonna continue with the stream, and hopefully next week we can pick things up when I'm feeling a little bit better. So that's it for this one, guys. Thank you very much, and I'll see you back on the next one. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Please, please, please. We just hit 35,000 subscribers, so let's get to 40. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you back on the next one. Bye-bye.